The truck rumbled down the dusty road, leaving Cairo's bustling streets far behind. The Ahmed family was headed for their new home, an ancient house on the city's outskirts. They had found it at a bargain price. Too good to be true, thought Nada, the mother. She shuddered, catching her first glimpse of the house. It stood alone, a silhouette against the setting sun. Its windows, dark and empty, seemed to watch their approach. As they unloaded boxes, a strange stillness hung in the air. Even the birds seemed to avoid the house. "It's going to be all right, Omar," Nada's husband reassured her, sensing her unease. But his words rang hollow, even to his own ears. He too felt a chill crawl down his spine. Their son, Youssef, remained oblivious, his attention captured by a lizard darting between crumbling stones. That night, sleep wouldn't come. Strange sounds echoed through the empty halls. The wind howled like a mournful cry. Nada tossed and turned, each creak of the floorboards sending shivers down her spine. She could have sworn she saw a fleeting shadow pass by her bedroom door. "Just the wind," she whispered, trying to convince herself. Omar slept soundly beside her, oblivious to her fear. He didn't believe in ghosts, but Nada couldn't shake off the feeling that they were not alone. This house, she was sure, held secrets. Dark, terrible secrets. The unsettling events continued. Whispers seemed to emanate from the walls at night, too faint to decipher. Objects moved inexplicably. A vase toppled over in the dead of night, shattering on the hard floor. Youssef swore he saw a man in the garden, his features obscured by the shadows. "There's someone watching us, Mama," he said, his eyes wide with fear. Nada held him close, her heart pounding. She couldn't dismiss his fears. Not anymore. Something was wrong, terribly wrong with this house. One evening, as the sun began its descent, casting long, eerie shadows across the overgrown lawn, an old woman with piercing blue eyes appeared at their doorstep. Her face was a canvas of wrinkles, her silver hair pulled back in a tight bun. "This house," the woman rasped, her voice a dry whisper. "It hungers." Nada felt a chill grip her heart. The woman's words seemed to echo the dread that had taken root within her. "What do you mean?" Nada asked, her voice trembling. The old woman's gaze was unsettling, piercing through her with an intensity that made her skin crawl. "This house," the woman repeated, leaning closer. "It feeds on the living. You and your family. You are in danger." Before Nada could question her further, the old woman turned and shuffled away, disappearing into the gathering darkness as quickly as she had come. Omar, returning from the market, found Nada pale and shaken. He listened patiently as she recounted the strange encounter. "Just a crazy old woman," he said, trying to sound reassuring. But doubt gnawed at him. He couldn't deny the increasingly disturbing events that plagued their new home. He decided to investigate, to dig into the history of the house. He hoped to find a logical explanation, something to ease his wife's growing fear and silence the doubts creeping into his own mind. His search led him to the local library, where dusty archives whispered tales of the house's past. He discovered that the house had a long, troubled history. The previous occupants, a family much like theirs, had vanished without a trace. Local rumors whispered of dark rituals, a malevolent entity, and a cursed well located deep within the property's boundaries. As Omar delved deeper, a chill ran down his spine. The stories, though dismissed as folklore, resonated with the chilling events unfolding in his own home. He felt a growing sense of dread, a certainty that the house was not just old, but evil. He returned home, his mind racing. He had to protect his family. He had to find a way to break the curse, to appease whatever malevolent force haunted the house before it claimed them all. Driven by a desperate need to protect his family, Omar decided to investigate the well. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long, ominous shadows across the overgrown garden, he ventured out. The air grew heavy, the silence thick with anticipation. He located the well, hidden behind a thicket of thorny bushes, its stone rim crumbling, covered in moss. As he peered into its depths, he felt a cold, unseen presence brush against him. A whisper, barely audible, sent shivers down his spine. "Leave this place," it hissed, "before it consumes you all." Fear threatened to overwhelm him, but he clung to the thought of his family. He had to be strong. He had to find a way to break the curse. Returning to the house, Omar found Nada and Youssef huddled together, their faces pale with terror. "We have to leave," Nada whispered, clutching his arm. "We have to leave now." Omar nodded, his heart heavy. He knew she was right. But escape, he feared, would not be easy. The house, he realized, had other plans for them. That night, the nightmare escalated. The whispers grew louder, morphing into guttural chants that seemed to shake the very foundation of the house. And then, the unthinkable happened. Youssef vanished. One moment he was sleeping peacefully in his bed, the next he was gone. Panic surged through Omar and Nada. They searched frantically, their hearts pounding in their chests. They called his name until their voices were hoarse, but only silence met their ears. Despair threatened to consume them. They knew deep down that the entity, the presence that haunted their home, had taken their son. Driven by a mix of terror and desperation, Omar and Nada decided to flee the house. They had to escape, to get as far away from the cursed place as possible. As they stumbled through the dark, the house seemed to fight back. Doors slammed shut, blocking their way. The temperature plummeted, and an unseen force seemed to tug at their clothes, urging them back into the shadows. Finally, they burst through the front door, into the cool night air. They ran, not daring to look back, the echoes of their own fear mingling with the distant chanting that continued to emanate from the house. They left everything behind, their possessions, their sanity, and most importantly, their precious son.